Hello, Jessica, and welcome to the Day Job to Dream Job Summit.
Hello, it's so fun to be here with you, Rebecca.
So
I'm very
awesome.
excited.
Yay! So, for those of you who don't know Jessica, she is a freedom and success coach for women entrepreneurs who are ready to make money doing work they love from anywhere. She transformed her business and life, creating a unique freedom-based business model, allowing her to go from earning $7,000 a year to having her first 10K month in just 30 days, combining her business savvy, intuitive coaching, and deep passion for freedom. Jessica then went on to earn her first six figures in just 6 months and celebrated her first $100,000 month this year, all while helping her clients create their own six and even seven-figure businesses. She believes that true freedom comes from unlimited time, money, and a clear, joyous mind. And with the quick success of her business, her husband was able to quit his 9 to 5, and they now work and play together full time. Jessica is the ultimate freedom girl, regularly enjoying long weekends, soaking up the sunshine in her home state of Colorado with her husband and pups. And you can learn more at jessicacaver.com. Hello.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. It's always so funny to have your bio and intro shared while you listen.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
It's exciting.
Yeah, and it's so cool to have you here. You were such a big part of, my business journey. And for those of you who don't know, Jessica was my coach about, I guess it was like a year and a half ago.
Oh yeah, we did an intensive and
Yeah.
coaching afterwards. It was so much fun in
So
Miami.
fun. Yeah, I still remember like having ceviche and cocktails on the beach and like just sinking in more deeply to, I don't know, to my power. And there's something so beautiful and intuitive about your work.
Thank
So, yeah, you're welcome. So to start us off, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your day job to dream job story. What has this like unfolding look
Sure.
like for you?
I was never someone who was good at the day job in the first place. And what I mean by that is I'm from generations of entrepreneurs. And by entrepreneurs, I'm from a farming ranching community. And so
Cool.
I was very raised in a very rural community. Literally my family homesteaded like in Colorado, have been like
Yeah.
working with cattle for hundreds and thousands
Goodness.
forever. So I was just always around people who were terrible at working for other people because we're all very strong leaders. And so I was great at school. I was great at college. And then when I left college, it was this moment of like, well, now what do I do? And, having been this like shining star up to that point in everything I did, to then having to go and like work in restaurants and clean houses and do all these side jobs because I was so anti the day job. So I don't have tons of great day job stories because I was so like against it.
Yeah,
I have a lot of
totally.
like side job stories and racking up credit card debt because I refused to be an adult or be responsible or whatever people want to call it. I knew there had to be another way. And so it was really, the longest job that I've ever held was a 2-year job at a holistic health clinic answering phones. Other than that, it was really like piecing it together side jobs. And right before I started my coaching business, or right when I was starting it, a part-time job kind of fell into my lap, answering phones for an opera company, actually. And of course, it's the last thing I wanted to do, but at the same time, it was such a gift because it funded my business, and everything I earned from that went 100% into my business. And it was while working there that I went from selling a couple $50 single sessions to selling my first $5,000 package. And it was that moment of like, all right, well, if I can just sell one of these like every couple months, I'm good, I'm out.
Yeah.
So that's when I like jetted. So I was there probably 3 months total as a side job, as one of my many side jobs to fund my dream.
Cool. I always love hearing the behind the scenes and
Yeah. It's
what
also why I'm very unavailable for anyone who's like, well, I really want to do this, but I just don't know, or I can't make it work. It's like, I would have bagged groceries at a grocery store. Like I said, I did clean houses, and like I knew I wanted to do this no matter what. I didn't care what needed to happen to fund it. Like it was happening. So it's like, so much for your pride. Like
Totally.
do what you got to do and make it happen because it's so worth it.
I love that. And, one of the themes of this summit is getting past the glossy into the gritty.
Yes.
Like, what did it really take? So I'm curious, what was your biggest challenge when you were transitioning, right? You were doing these side jobs. You were maybe had just taken on your first class. I don't know. In the early stages of your business, like, what was the biggest challenge for you?
Well, I think it's still the biggest challenge. It's that mindset piece, and it's always the most important piece. And it's like, I love that you brought it up, the glossy versus the gritty kind of piece. Like, let's
Yeah.
get real here. There's a lot more grit going on than gloss in general. And I don't mean
Yeah.
it like super hard work, but like the photo shoots are a small part of it. And even
Right.
those, like they look glamorous, but you're like wandering around a field barefoot in a dress, like trying
Those
not to get
are
stuck in a
gorgeous.
bush.
By the way, they're gorgeous. I love it. But it's
Thank
funny to
you.
see the back end. Like, the world sees these like hippie chic, like
Yeah.
glamour girl photos, but you're like, okay, I was out there for 5 hours. It was hot. It was
Changing
whatever.
bras in the porter potty, trying to get like, yeah, it's a totally different experience. It sounds glam, but
Yeah, no, oh
thank
my
God
God,
for
I
the
love
photos.
it.
But no, I mean, the mindset piece is always the biggest piece. Like, and it's so funny because so many entrepreneurs, especially, well, I was gonna say especially new, but really doesn't matter. Even people who are more
Yeah.
experienced are like, oh no, I already know this. And I'm like, if you already knew this, things would look different in your life and your
Yeah.
business. Like if I had
For
already
sure.
known that in the beginning, my life absolutely would have looked different. I think what really served me and made my business move forward so quickly is that I put so much focus into that mindset work in the beginning. Like I would take days where I would feel incredibly guilty for not marketing, but I would sit down and like write out all my limiting beliefs around money and one by one go through them and acknowledge them and forgive them and release them. And it was through days like that I would randomly get a clarity call request from a new client and like people would reach out. And I think that we discredit that so often. And one of my like greatest desires, because I am such a like type A perfectionist background, is how can we stay in this flow and how can we work from this inspired space? And even for me, it's like we still are like, oh, that's not actually going to work. But every
No,
time
but
that
it
something
does.
big has happened in my life has been like when we're in that space and when we leverage that. So
Yeah.
it is that mindset stuff. And it never, I think the piece that we have to make peace with as well is that it's not that it leaves. Like, it's not like, oh, good, I cleared that out. Like, no, you
I'm
just
done.
hit the next
I've
pile.
arrived.
You hit the like, okay, now I'm earning at this level, but she's earning there. Am I like, it's the next weird stuff that you have to deal with. And if we can just find joy in that process and that uncovering,
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. Finding
totally.
joy in every day.
Totally. Oh my God, I could not agree more. And I love what you said about like, the inner work is really where it starts, and that clarity and that connection to source and that mindset piece, because without it, it's almost like you're cooking in a messy kitchen, right?
Yeah,
Or
totally.
something. And so you can't fully like the universe may hear some desires, but it also hears a bunch of noise and it gets confused. And I
Exactly.
think that's something you do so well. Something else you mentioned, like seeing other people in the industry and like, oh,
Yes.
so-and-so is making this amount of money.
Yep.
One of the themes of this summit is women inspiring other women. And the idea that when we see somebody going after their dreams and really just like crushing it, there's like the ego perspective where we can be like, oh, like, scarcity, I've got to compete. But I think it's such a beautiful reframe. It's something that you just embody so well. This idea, if she can do it, I can
Yes.
too.
Totally.
And so I'm curious, like, is there anyone in your life who's been that kind of mentor or somebody who showed you what was possible? Yeah.
One thing I just want to add on though, what you said there, if she can do it, I can too.
Yeah.
And then to check in with yourself on you if you actually want it.
Yes. Oh my
Because
God.
this,
Yes.
this
Totally.
is the piece I feel like is forgotten so often. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I can earn this much a month. And then like get real with yourself. If it's not about needing to prove yourself or I'm as good as her or some level of like we're back in high school and popularity contest BS, like what do you actually want in your life? Like, so just that first and foremost. And then what I found in terms of like mentors and competition and all of this, my mentors have consistently evolved who they are and who I'm attracted to.
Yeah.
And it's really been interesting, even in this phase of my business, I feel like I'm back in an exploration around who inspires me because you're going to work with people and be really inspired by them. And then at some point you're kind of good and you're complete there. And so then it's like, okay, who is next on that path? And I find that like in the beginning of your business, it's more about, I think, having a real consistent mentor and someone that has the business or has the lifestyle that you want to create and really being around them consistently until you can embody that and be strong enough on your own to be able to move forward. From here where I'm at now, it feels a little bit more about piecing it together almost. Like, ooh, I'm really inspired by the way she does launches, or I'm really inspired by her lifestyle and self-care. And I don't at this point feel like I have one person that's doing it all for me. And so it's more pulling.
Cool.
I mean, Gina DeVee for sure was a big inspiration for me, obviously, because she was the first one that allowed me to feel like I could have some luxury in my life and really authentically be who I am. Because I am that country girl. You know, I'm like, now I have on denim and Chanel earrings. Like that's kind
I
of
love the blue nail polish. You're rocking
and bright
it.
blue nail
Yeah,
polish.
no, it's fabulous. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it just always like has been this weird. I think we all are this way. We have this weird mix of personality and giving ourselves permission
Totally.
to step into all of that. And so she was just such a breath of fresh air to what I could charge for my coaching, the travel, like all of that, and still think of her as a huge inspiration in my life. And then even now, like someone that I've been more attracted to are people like Gabrielle Bernstein. And, you know, I've been researching and connecting with her and possibly doing an intensive with her and getting some one-on-one time there. So it's like that I'm being pulled more now towards maybe some speaking and writing and that spiritual side. And so I don't think that it's ever one person. It's just kind of keep exploring it. And at the same time, I also surround myself with mastermind partners that are on a similar level that are really inspired as well. Just because you got to keep yourself in that space. Like people that I see on a regular basis.
Yeah, so cool. So I think a lot of people would look at you and just be like, oh my gosh, this girl like has it together. Do you, it's always funny to hear that, but I'm pretty sure most people watching this are like, oh, she's so just like whatever. Do you ever struggle with self-doubt or insecurity? And if so, how do you either like dance with it? I don't necessarily even want to say overcome it, but what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I saw this question on your list of potential questions that might happen. I was looking over today and I was like, oh crap. Like, because this morning was one of those moments where I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I get in? Like, because I usually wake up inspired and I'm ready to go. And today is just, it's cloudy outside. That's the first thing. I am a sunshine girl. Like, if I'm not directly connected to the sun on a regular basis, like, I very quickly just lose all inspiration for everything. So it's just sad. But, you know, it is something that still comes up. And I've always been someone who is like, if you ever put me on a pedestal, like, knock me off of it. And I think that it's really funny when I do intensives with clients because they're like, they get so much from it. And I see them get amazing results. I had a client, we just did an intensive in Santa Monica.
It was huge.
Oh, that's true. You've had one. Yeah.
I've done it.
I had a client, she just did one and she went home and sold, I think it was a 5,000 or 7,000 pound package immediately afterwards. First, like it was such a quick shift. But when we were there, it kind of, she was like, I didn't expect it to be like this easy to like hang out with you and like grab a drink afterwards. And it's like, that's what I've always wanted to embody is more of the, I mean, it's probably my country background, but more the girl next door because we're all totally human. And anytime that we pretend that we're not having concerns or issues coming up, it's not of service to anyone. Like it just makes us feel like we have to strive to be perfect and perfect is boring. Like give yourself some colors and some, you know, let you be a little different. You know, what it was for me today is I just felt like something was off. Like, and those are not always a bad thing. No, you know, it's something that I've even had to discuss with my husband. It's like, sometimes when I feel down, like I need to feel it for a minute so that I can then, instead of like, nope, can't feel that way, box it up and put it away. Like, let's feel what's going on here. And I did a meditation and got clear on it. And it was, I need to disconnect even more from the busy work in my business. I needed to get even more so into I write and I coach and everything else needs to be off my plate 100%. And that's not a space that I could have been in even a year ago, coming from a farming ranching family where you do not delegate, you do it all yourself. And I was like, I need more of this off my plate. This is not, can I write sales pages? Can I build landing pages? Great. Yeah. Does it make me, my soul alive in every moment? No. I don't need to be doing it.
Yeah. Totally.
So yeah, struggles still come up. But and if you have like some sort of a consistent practice that's going to support you and you're doing things you love on a regular basis, that you're not available to feel like crap very often. And when you do, you take it more as a sign rather than something's wrong with you.
Oh, I love that. That's such a, you know, I've seen that in my own life too. It's like, typically if I'm in any kind of space of struggle or frustration, it's like an invitation and something almost new and better and deeper is coming. And so it's like, I love what you said, shifting, looking at it as something's wrong to like an invitation, or I forget the word you used, but it's such a beautiful.
I mean, here's a perfect example. I was launching my signature program has been Freedom School and my group program. So I was launching that for the last and I was just like, with love, like seriously, there's got to be a better way to market than just like, hey, buy my stuff. Hey, buy my stuff. And it's just kind of how I was trained to a certain extent. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I literally, it's been about a week and a half ago, just stopped sending emails and finally sent out an email that was like, hey, by the way, this is paused.
I saw it. I loved it. I loved it. It's so real. And it's so just like, sorry, keep going. I'm curious.
Well, I told my husband, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to get naked basically in front of my community now is what it felt like. Because it was very vulnerable. But it was something that's like, I already had people signed up for the program. This is one of my favorite ways to work. There's no way I'm canceling this. The program itself was lovely, but it needed to be bigger. And it's what you said about it was an invitation for something bigger. It was an expansion. And so I took the program and I was like, okay, the smaller program it was isn't working. The small launch window wasn't working. And so I just expanded it and took all the pressure off of have to make it happen now and made it, well, let's make it happen in the next year. Like it just shifted everything by taking the pressure off. We don't need any more pressure. We don't need any more chaos. We don't need any more busy work. Like take the pressure off. So it's like, there's another example of like, I could have freaked out, had a meltdown. Someone was like, so proud of you and the way you're handling this and you're not freaking out. I was like, freaking out? That wasn't an option. Like, there's big service that I meant to do. And I love this work. It's just, it needed to be shifted a little bit. And I'm not afraid to do that publicly. Because the other thing is like, what am I going to do? Stick with it 100% and not have it feel right? Hell no.
Yeah. And I just love that you're willing to, as you put it, be naked in front of your audience. I think there's a lot of, even the title of this summit, Day Job to Dream Job, there's a lot of these like, I was in struggle and now I'm perfect and everything's amazing and come learn from me. And it's like,
unicorns and
evolving. Right. And it is a huge shift and it is amazing, but there's always deepening and there's always more growth. And so I just think it's so cool that someone like you, who so many people look up to, you're willing to like tell it like it is, and you're willing to have a little gritty with the glossy, and I think it's just it's not of service, as you said, to pretend to be perfect.
No. Yeah. The gritty is what makes this all fun, and probably some of that comes from my upbringing. I've always had this weird, from the country. I've had a hard time even, and it's been my greatest strength. And sometimes, I don't want to say my weakness, but something that I can trip on a little bit sometimes is I'm two sides. I'm a very different person in some ways. I love the glam. Like I said, I love the travel and getting dressed up in ball gowns. I also, like, part of me literally just wants to buy a chunk of land and have 12 dogs and like
12 dogs. Wow. Okay, cool.
Like I just want like animals and stuff and to never do anything. And so there's these two sides that I'm consistently pulled between. And for me, it's been, and when you talk about gritty, like that's a big piece of it. Like there's a glossy glam, but it's also exhausting to live there. And to have to hold perfection all the time. Like, let yourself be your own personality. And the more that I brought both sides of that in and acknowledged them and moved into an RV for a bit and did all that weird stuff, like, that's what makes my brand bloom, is because I can say, here's, there are a lot of blonde business coaches out there who have to be doing, but I know what sets me apart. Like, I know what makes me uniquely different. And each one of us has that. Like, just own it. Own the grit. It's what will make you money. And
I love it.
Successful.
No, it's so true. I mean, I found myself in sort of a similar place earlier this year. Like, oh my God, like, got to keep up, whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm moving once a month for the next 12 months, and I'm exploring the world, and this is me. And it means like I remember I did a Periscope challenge, and I repeated the same outfit 2 days in a row, and then realized it. But I was like, you know what? I'm in Buenos Aires, and I don't know where the laundromat is, and like, it's perfect. Like, we don't all have to be so glossy. So yeah, I love it. So cool. So I know you're offering a free gift to people right now, the Freedom Girls Guide to Premium Coaching Packages, and we're going to link to it below this interview, but can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something that I'm really passionate about, and it about this premium coaching idea and charging your worth. And so much of that is really knowing your own worth, I believe. And I know that, it's not all about the money. It's never all about the money. But I see way too many women who are charging, $50 for a session, $100 for a session. They're super booked up and they're exhausted. And that's not serving anyone either. Like, I see it all the time, especially I work with a lot of intuitive and spiritual entrepreneurs and past yoga instructors. I was a past yoga instructor myself. I see it a ton in that community. They're like back-to-back classes making $12 a class, exhausted. Like, and our great spiritual leaders and teachers and everything in this society need to be paid what they're worth, but it's their job to get themselves paid that. I think is the piece that they forget, like, to really stand in your truth. And that's what this free guide is all about. And it's so much more than a free guide. I mean, there's like a 25-page workbook in there. There's another worksheet all about ideal budgeting. There's 2 audios that have just gotten crazy amounts of. There's one all about being confident charging, and another one called the Abundance Manifesto to actually, like, you can listen to it anytime to start to shift the way you feel.
Listen to it. I think
you sent me an email.
Yeah.
Insane emails about this one.
I loved it.
No idea.
I loved it. Yeah.
I have clients who are like, yeah, I listen to it the whole time I'm sleeping at night. I'm like, you don't have to listen to it that much, but if it's working, like,
Go
so
for it.
it's amazing. And it's all about like taking your expertise and packaging it up in the way that you can ask for those premium prices and receive them, be in a confident space that you're actually able and ready to receive at that level. So I'm in love with this opt-in offer gift. So I hope people love it.
So cool. And I believe it's just Lindholm.com.
Yes, Jess Lindholm, JESSLINDHOLM, jesslindholm.com/free guide.
Okay, cool. We will link to that in
Awesome.
the about part. I've also, we talked a little bit about this before, the Freedom Society. So there's,
you're getting the exclusive scoop. I haven't shared this publicly yet.
Do you want to maybe give us a little tease about what that's all about?
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, Freedom School has been one of my favorite things. I've ran it several times in the last year and a half, and it really was the foundational trainings that I saw every entrepreneur needing. Something I was talking about over and over and over again with my one-on-one clients and realized needed to be packaged up in a way that anyone could use it.
Yeah, totally.
And so what I realized this year is that it needed to be even bigger. And so what I've done is I've taken my 4-month Freedom School program and have expanded it from now all the way through November. So instead of being a 4-month program, depending on when you sign up, same price no matter when you sign up. So the sooner you sign up, the more coaching you get.
Cool.
It ends up being almost 8 months of coaching. You get all the Freedom School modules, which are 8 modules, plus advanced trainings as well. So it ends up being 15 trainings over this entire period.
Awesome.
You get 3 live calls with me a month. And what I love about this is it's so different than so many group programs I see. You actually get like personalized support every week on a regular basis. Yeah. Both in the Facebook group, I answer your questions, and in the one-on-one or in the group coaching, it feels like one-on-one. And I hear that all the time from my people. And then one of the most exciting pieces is I will be doing my first live event. It's going to be a 2-day retreat. For anyone who's in this program, just automatically gets access to it. So if you're wanting to hang out in person and you're wanting to receive coaching and have sisterhood and travel, like, this is going to do it all. I'm so excited. I'm calling it the last coaching program you'll ever need.
Oh my God, that's so great. I love it. I love it.
That's
so cool.
So I'm really excited to share.
Awesome. Thanks for letting us know about that. So cool. So cool. And you guys, I've worked with Jessica. She's amazing. So can't recommend her enough. So in your opinion, what is the best part about being an entrepreneur?
Well, being the ultimate freedom girl, the best part would be unlimited freedom. Freedom really is just the choice to live your own life without someone else having any control over it. And sometimes that can be really exciting, and sometimes that can be really scary. Yeah. And so, but it means so much to me. I've always been a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. It allows us to live on the edge. It allows us to live these big, expansive lives. I know that we can give back in such a big way that we can, just live a big, full life that I don't feel like is honestly possible when we're stuck working for someone else, doing work we don't like on someone else's schedule, wasting 2 hours of our day in a car doing a commute. That whole system, I don't think is going to last. And I think that this is just the start of a big revolution. Of course, there's still going to be teachers and construction workers and all these amazing jobs that can't be done online. But I think there's a shift coming, and I'm a big fan of we're in a freedom revolution, and it's just getting started. So if anyone's concerned that there's too much competition or there's not enough work out there, baloney. There's 3 billion people on social media alone. We could all be booked up for our lives with amazing clients. And the way that it's going with everyone wanting to get the heck out of their jobs and do something more meaningful, there's just going to keep being more clients and more work to do and a bigger message to share. So it's all about the freedom. It's all about
I love that, a freedom revolution. That is so juicy and powerful.
Gives me chills. Gives me a reason to get up in the morning and go.
Yeah. So do you have one last piece of advice or thing you would share to someone who is maybe just at the start of her freedom revolution or just, watching this and maybe still in that corporate grind and maybe watching this video on her lunch break? What would you say to her?
Totally. The first thing that came to mind when you were speaking is follow the feel good. And I've always been a big fan of follow the feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. So if you've been taught to just endure, it's not serving anyone. There's too many brilliant women out there who have big things to do in this world. And the more that they dim their light, the more that we're keeping ourselves trapped in a cycle that's not serving anyone. So first things first, follow your feel good. Those little weird things
Follow
you're
your
attracted
feel
to,
good.
that book you love to read, those videos like this that you just keep wanting to watch and you don't know why, keep doing it because there's something in it for you. So that's the first piece. Second piece, have courage. Have courage, have courage, have courage. I know it's scary and I know it feels like sometimes no one gets you. Your family may not be supportive all the time. Your friends might think you're crazy. Like, have courage and know that if you're pulled to do something bigger in this life, it's not just there just cuz. You know, one of my favorite sayings or quotes is desire is possibility seeking expression. If it's in you, it's meant to
love
be
it.
expressed.
Yeah.
Like, so be courageous. And if you know that you're meant to do something more, get yourself out there and follow your message. And if you feel alone in the journey, keep watching videos like this, keep downloading the free opt-ins, download my free guide and the audios, listen to them, and find groups of women and friends and people you can connect with who can support you and who can celebrate you. And that's what these groups are all about. There's no competition between any of us. We're cheering each other on. It's one place in life where women really do that.
Yeah.
So be courageous and follow the feel good.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're
so
so-
appreciate you being here and sharing all your wisdom. And you guys, I'm going to link to some juicy stuff where you can learn more and get supported by Jessica. So thank you, lovely.
Thank you so much.